soon as it's up and running, we'll let you know and we can call to order.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. We are live. Thank you, Bethany. We are live. We are ready.
All right. I would like to call to order the Historic District Commission meeting for Monday, November 8th, 2021. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The Frostburg Historic District Commission implements the city's Historic Preservation Overlay District of the Frostburg Zoning Ordinance Section 4 as adopted in 2014 pursuant to the authority granted by the Maryland Land Use Article Section 8 as adopted in 2012 of the Annotated Code of Maryland. This meeting is open to the public and conducted in compliance with the State of Maryland's Open Meetings Act. The Frostburg Historic District Commission is charged with the preservation of historic structures and the surroundings within the designated district in order to safeguard the heritage of the city, stabilize and improve property values, strengthen the local economy, and foster civic beauty. All right, we will now do the roll call. I am the chair, Dawn Hein. Our vice chair, Joseph Hoffman.
Present.
Bill Determan.
Here.
Rob Rephan.
Here.
Maureen Brewer.
Here.
And our alternate, Daniel Filer, is not present this evening. So, commissioners, if you would please review the agenda as presented, and when you are ready, if I could have a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Hearing none opposed, the agenda is approved. Commissioners, if you would also please look at the minutes from our previous meeting in October. And when you are ready, if I could have a motion.
Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I will second, but with one editorial change. I don't think I was here on the 11th.
Neither was I. I think it says somewhere.
At the very
At the
top.
top.
You were-
Mhm. And Daniel Filer was not here either.
Thank you for that note. That is something we're looking to correct within this system.
Yeah, because under roll call, it says
Right.
you were absent.
Yeah, right. Thank you very much.
All right. So with the change to those present, do I have a motion? A second, I mean. I did have a second,
Yes, you
didn't
did.
I? I'm sorry.
Yes.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Hearing none opposed, the minutes pass as amended.
Thank you, Kai.
All right. So now we move into project presentations, and our first is Richard and Martha Harris, 101 West Main Street.
Hello, good evening.
Hi,
Okay.
welcome.
Thank you. My wife and I purchased the former Leonard, second Leonard property on the alley, Leonard's Alley in West Main Street, June 28th. And that had been in the works for a year. We had been caretaking for my mom in LaVale, former residence up here in Boise. And we had to move back because we were selling my mom's property. And we're fortunate enough to find what we thought was a good small bungalow, as my wife calls it, for a reasonable price. And we thought we had a contract sale That would be effective July 2020, but legal delays ensued, and we finally closed in June of 21. But we've been living there approximately a year now, since October 28, 20, under an agreement with the owners. It was an estate, and there were some problems with one of the brothers. We're looking at trying to make some improvements. One of the reasons it stayed on the market for so long, I believe, was the exterior condition. It just doesn't look real great from the street. So, other than electric plumbing, and we're looking at some blinds on the insides of the windows, some replacements, and something new in the front porch. The exterior that we want to proceed with right now are the front and rear entry doors. There's a third door on the side, which is sort of a tradesman door, goes right down to the basement. And that one, we're not doing anything other than probably painting it. So the front door, you have the pictures, I assume?
Yes.
I've got the color ones over here if you want to see it in color. It's a house that was built according to the state in 1920. That seems to be also what the Lemmerts told me. Howard is still a Frostburg resident. And that was built, I said in what he told me, as a store, actually, initially, and a residence for a returning veteran from World War I who wanted to open a store. And the Lemmert house was already there next door, which is the big house. And so it was all on one lot. This was not uncommon at the time. They built the second house on the same lot and later subdivided. Long time later. So it started out as a grocery. That's what it said on the first Sanborn, you see. And then later it just said S for store. So it remained a mixed-use property for some time. Of course, when we bought it, it had been last used as a rental. There are 3 bedrooms upstairs, and frankly, I don't see much in the interior that tells me it was a store, which is interesting. There's nothing fixed that you was like a counter or something that you would, or shelving that's built in. None of that. It just looks like a regular living room. So the one thing I did learn first of this month that isn't in the information from talking to Mrs. Lemmert is that the front porch was a standard, typical porch when it was first built in the 20s, and it was later enclosed. So the enclosure, and what you see in the pictures, was not original to 1920. It was changed along the way.
Right behind you.
Thank you. Yes. Although it's funny because the door looks like it was always there. It even has the grab bar, the iron grab bar into the side for the one step there is. And there's the same in the inside. You know, the inside has a second door into the main part of the house. You can see the main 2-story house. And that is, I don't know if I have a picture of that, but it's over in this area. And it does look like it was the main entry door originally, and it probably was, opening onto a porch, open porch, as it is next door with the main house. So there's some uncertainty as to what was going on. She mentioned that they might have pictures. I got excited about that because we couldn't find anything at the museum. But she didn't offer to go, scrounge around, try to find them for me yet. So I'm going to work on that. So get copies, give them to the museum, then it'll be there forever. So the front door is a steel door, obviously not original in the 20s. And the whole enclosure is may not be original, although I'm a little suspicious. It's not heated. That's another. The rest of the house is heated except for that space. And then in the back, something else I learned is they did an addition. It looked like there was a porch in the back as well. It's a fairly narrow house. Looks like it went the full length. It was took off the drop ceiling. You could see the top of the second story that would be cantilevered over a back porch. as it is with what's left, which is this area in the corner. So it looks like it continued that way. One of the Sanborns looks like it has some stairs coming down more in the center than where it is here, but rather than going this way, they're coming this way. So there have been some changes made. And she said that was fairly recent, the addition, the enclosure to create additional inside space. That's not heated either. And it has different construction. So it doesn't look like either of those areas were part of the original house. The first Sanborn doesn't show any stairs in the back, but the later one does. I'm trying to remember the dates. That's over here. There was a garage at one time, but we're not going to get into that. It's not relevant what we're doing this time. If we ever get into improvements in the back, we'll come back and talk about that.
Okay.
But there were two structures in the back, neither of which exist anymore. You can see foundations. It's kind of a ruin back there if you walk by. Right, so that was the original. Prior to the building, you can see the original house. The X is where the second house was built, which is the one we own. And then you see the house up here. That's 1930, about 10 years after it was built. And then you have an auto garage, fairly large. Looks like it's bigger than the house.
It does.
You probably serve both houses, I guess. But that hasn't been there for a long time. Howard would talk about a second building, but it was back here. There was a building, and actually you can still see a signpost. And that was used for commercial purposes also, apparently, at one time. More recently. So all we got now is the one building we're talking about, this entrance here, and the second one back here. As you can see, the condition of the front doors is quite poor, and it's one of the, it does not look good from the street, and apparently wasn't original. So we have a proposal to replace it also with just a single door, and we like to get a typical storm door, interior door. It's the porch does pretty well because of all the windows on solar, passive solar, and this might give us more flexibility. In the back does have two doors, which are, one's a wooden door. It looks pretty old. And it has an old storm door with the screen, the old screen on top, which, you know, it's either intact or it isn't.
Yeah.
Doesn't go up or down like they have them now. There it is. And the bottom part's glass. And actually the wooden door now has plexiglass in it. So we would like to put a single door in that one that fits better. You have to kick those old wooden doors that they swell up and go up and down. It doesn't close very well, and the screen is kind of a mess. And so this will give us a little better start on the house, and
Well,
it may lead to other things later, but we're not talking about that today.
question that I have, unfortunately, the copies, I don't know about anyone else's.
can't tell
You
what's-
can't tell what the design is of the door, the proposed new door.
Oh.
It looks like a solid white
Right,
door.
like that.
Right, we decided to go, it's the standard Frostburg white siding, you know, that was done in so many houses.
Well, I assume it has
And
some
so it's
type
all
of
white,
design.
and we talked about colors and so forth, and then the arrangement of glass, if we're gonna use it, and how much, and we ended up just trying to keep it white.
Is it just a flat door? Is there any kind of decorative bordering
Four
around it?
panels on there.
Or panels.
It looks like there's 4 panels.
It kind of, yeah, you see a little bit of
Kind
a
of
shadow,
faint,
but
yeah.
you can't,
I see at least 2 on there.
I can't tell what's happening at the top.
Right.
Let's see. So the front is going to have the storm door that have 2 doors. There's room for it in the opening, and the storm will be adjustable, but it pretty much see through it. Then behind it, we have a wooden door with a small glass piece at the top. Gives us a little more privacy because when it's open, the other doors we can see right through the house. It's like a shotgun house.
So
Yeah.
what is the shape of the glass at the top? Is it a rectangle?
Yes. You have a good.
We
See,
can't tell.
we can't tell
Ours
from
looks
the,
about like that,
it
does.
looks like that,
You just
so
see a
we
little
can't.
bit of blue, but you
Look like
can't.
Yeah, this is a
Like
little
the-
better. Sometimes I don't copy real well. Is this any better?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so it's
So
got
it
4
does, yeah.
panels with the glass at the
Okay,
top.
yeah.
So the look will be different. The material's the same. Have that molding. It's gonna be scraped and painted when this gets done. It'll look a lot better.
So did you say the front and back doors will be like that?
Well, back's a little different. It's the same thing.
Will it be similar to this one that's on the front?
He said it would be slightly different.
This is the same thing.
Alright, so
Right. This looks.
this one has
similar.
a curved
Yeah, a little more.
glass
curved.
on the top, so is this the front door and then that's the back?
I assume this would be. Well, this is outside view, and that has this is the view with the storm door in front
Sure,
of the actual
sure.
door behind it,
Right,
and inside. Is that right? I don't know.
Does it have model numbers on there?
Mhm.
Because it says the front door is model number 419,
alright.
and it's a steel entry door. The rear one is model number 430, and it has a vented light.
I assume this is the front.
Yeah,
Is
this
that
one
both?
is
And that would be the rear?
419.
That's 419.
419 is which one, Maureen?
419 is the front door,
The front door.
Oh,
okay.
really?
and 430 is the rear.
So I'll write that on here.
Storm door is series number 291.
It was.
This is
here.
291. Okay.
Alright, so this
So
is
these
the
two go
back door,
together.
and that's the front.
These would be both front then, right?
They look,
Alright.
I think it's the same, I
Let's
think.
Same
maybe
storm
this
door
isn't-
then?
Well,
Yeah,
this one,
this-
this has
Sounds
got
like
a
they're from the same
rectangle glass
series.
versus
I know.
an arch glass.
So the screen is basically a full light, but it's
it's a-
divided where half of it you can lower and,
Yeah,
and
there
raise
is
it.
a-
Right.
Divider.
Right.
There's a divider about halfway down.
419.
It really won't be visible.
Yeah, 419 was the front door.
Okay, 4-panel, 419 style, 20 smooth steel. That's front.
Alright. Yeah, I think
So
that's the same,
This,
Storm door is model 291.
That's the same.
because that's 419.
so I don't have the other,
And then,
unless we got.
and you said,
And this is the one in the back you're talking about replacing, right?
That's the front door, 101. That has the number right on the front.
That is,
That's the existing front.
that's this front door here.
That's
Okay.
correct. That's the front on picture of it.
Is this the back door?
The brown, yeah.
the brown's the back door.
The
yeah.
brown door is the back door.
And you're gonna replace that with that?
I
Correct.
don't have that actually. I thought I did.
Well,
But it
something
looks
similar
like-
to that.
Rich, the front door you're speaking of, is that the front door for the porch or the front door of the house?
The,
Well, it's the entry door now, but it
It is
the
the front
exterior.
door of the porch.
enters into the enclosed porch. And then,
The one you see from the
5 feet in front of
Is
you
this
is
one?
what I consider the real entry door to the envelope of the house itself, which is heated and very well constructed.
Sure.
And that
'Cause
one,
as you
that one is,
said-
that one it looks original to me, and we're not touching that,
As you said,
except maybe
the
painting it.
porch would not have been enclosed originally.
That's
this
what,
is the
that's
one
what
that's
she's
not
told me.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Yeah, it doesn't look,
you can
it's
see in the
kinda cheap,
construction it
cheap
wasn't.
construction.
Yeah. So, it looks like the rear door is one original to the house.
It could be. It's old enough.
Yeah.
All right, commissioners, do we have any other questions for Mr. Harris?
Are you putting the storm door on the back too?
No,
or
sir.
You're just keeping
No, we
the-
ran out of money.
the new metal door that you're putting in?
Right, right. I figure if it closes tightly, it'll serve the purpose and be flexible
Yeah.
for us.
LJ or Bethany, did we have any public comment?
No, Madam Chair, we routinely request public comment through our advertising for these meetings, and none was received on this particular project.
Thank you. All right, if there is no, if we don't have any more questions for Mr. Harris, are we ready to make a motion? Thank you for showing us
Sure.
those, I appreciate that.
You wanna do it?
Sure. I'll do it. I have studied the application and all relevant documents and presentation related to this case, and I am familiar with the property in question. I find that the proposed changes are compatible with the neighborhood because there is a general compatibility of exterior design, scale, proportion, arrangement, texture, and material to be used. Based on these findings, I move to approve the proposal because the use of exterior material are closely similar in appearance to materials significantly in this district. Pursuant to section 4.1.J.1.C.
I'll second.
All right, having a motion and a second, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Hearing none opposed, motion passes.
So Rich, where do you think the store was located?
It had to be on the front. I didn't know it would be.
Yeah.
If you notice the way the siding is, there's actually a bar where you could have a sign, and I'm sure there was a sign for Leonard's store, Leonard's Grocery. And if you took off the siding, you might even find a sign underneath. I don't know if you want to do that.
Well, you might want to do that for historical.
So are we going to see the Harris store on?
Well, I could put up a Leonard's store circa 1920 or something.
I'm sure we'd have to permit that.
Yeah.
I always wondered why that was called Leonard's Alley. I didn't know that corner was owned by
And that
Leonard's.
corner lot was Leonard's all the way back.
So that was a decent sized property to put two
Yes,
houses
sir.
on.
Yeah.
Yep. My property line, by the way, runs about 18 inches from their side door. Goes right down the middle of the sidewalk. Now, Howard told me it was a joint sidewalk. I thought, well, they have an agreement, right? No, it runs right through the middle of the
Oh
sidewalk.
my goodness.
So you're going to have to repair half of it.
Good luck.
Yeah.
I'm not putting a fence in now.
Thanks for
Thank you very
having me.
much.
Thank you.
That
Yeah, I
was-
like that.
That was neat. You added the history part in there. History of the house.
Yeah, well, I'll continue to work on the pictures. Find out, I'll get them down there. That'll help.
Thanks.
All right. Our next application is Stephen Whetstone and Jamie Jones, 89 West Main Street.
everyone. I'm Jamie Jones. We bought the 89 West Main Street. We closed on 9/30, I believe. We had our home evaluation done on 8/20, and they found that the right side, both right sides were over 3 feet, and we were using an FHA loan, so it needed a railing put up. We said something to the homeowners at the time that that was what was going to be done for us to buy it, and they went ahead and put a railing up without asking you guys. So we are here now.
I have a quick question. So you're saying that the previous owners put up the railing?
It was constructed and finished while they still owned the house. We didn't even receive a letter from you guys. You guys sent it to Roman, and his mail was being forwarded to his mom's address. And luckily, him and Stephen worked together, so he reached out to Stephen and told him, or we wouldn't even have known that this was going on. I reached out to Bethany the day Roman said something to Stephen, and then we're here now. So I'm really sorry that this is being done backwards. It was not our intention. We didn't purposely, we love the house, but we did buy the house with the railing already up.
So if I understand it, did you buy the house before the railing?
No, we had the appraisal and home inspection done. The home inspector said for a FHA loan,
Right.
they have to follow, I think we did a USDA loan actually, but they follow FHA guidelines. And he said we needed a railing. The loan
Right.
company said, since they said we needed a railing, we needed it. We said something to the homeowners and they said, all right, got it, good. Railing went up. The railing was up for a month before we even closed on the house. So I guess it was just late getting to the process, or Roman didn't check his mail or something. He said something to Stephen the day I called Bethany. I'm not sure exactly which day that was, but it's been, 3 weeks approximately.
Sure.
And we really like the railing. I mean, we bought the house with it. We feel like one of the things Miss Bennett had brought up is that it didn't feel like it fit some parts of the house. I do have some photos here that show, because the photos that are taken, I took them up close for Bethany, so it doesn't really go back some. If I could just show you some of the parts, if you wouldn't mind, that I think the house goes really well, the railing goes really well with. The windows are framed in the 4x4 that the railing is, and this is a better depiction of the color. It matches the door perfectly. We'd like to restain the porch the same exact color. These little spindles down here are also boards. The door, I feel like, has the same square feeling. The spindles match perfectly with the ballards that are already there. I did hear him speaking about the way the spindles are on there, how it can rot over time. And we would have no issue taking the spindles off and putting them in the middle. I also maybe had an idea, because I really think it's not the greatest idea to deconstruct this completely. There's 4-inch nails that were used to put the railing up. I'm afraid if we take it out, what's going to be underneath? I do know on the side of the house right here, it was put into the house. So when we remove that, it's gonna have a big square. So if we do the railing that was suggested, and the emails, you're gonna be able to see all that damage is gonna have to be replaced. When I was thinking maybe we could take the spindles off, put them in the middle, and then with the flat boards, maybe you guys could pick like a stencil that you like that matches the house, and we could do like a staining of it, or eventually maybe have like wood graining put into it to match the staining. I think she said the top of the house is what she didn't feel like it matched, so maybe if we could do something that matches the top of the house. But I also feel like this matches the whole bottom of the house, and then the top is a standalone piece which shows the historical design and whatnot. We didn't take away anything. That was one thing, like the integrity. Like I went on the mahdc.org and went through like the committee study guide that you guys would go, and print out pictures of like what would be okay and what wouldn't. We didn't cover up a window. We didn't cover up anything that can't be seen, or took away anything of the house. Also, in this, it says that when doing something like this, although it was done backwards, I'm very sorry about that, that you guys shouldn't completely redesign what the homeowners proposed we should kind of try to work together to meet in the middle where we're both happy. The railing's also very sturdy. Just the top and the bottom board that was suggested. I have 3 little ones. We can all sit on this. It's constructed wonderfully. It's going to hold up. I also feel like a railing like this is going to last longer with the way it's positioned to the house. So that means less fixing, altering, doing more damage to the house by having to replace it all the time. The integrity, I feel like, the integrity of the house, I feel like nothing was taken away. The materials are wood. I actually had Brian Alterton take a look. He was able to get on and see what you guys were proposing for me. He felt the materials were of the right time with the wood. Just wanted to get an outside opinion because maybe I'm wrong and it is ugly, but I feel like style is so subjective. And the spindles we were told we could keep, so there clearly is some feel of historical value there. There's just the boards, I guess, aren't what's really liked, but we could add something to them. I was looking online at like Corbel, like the little swirly things that are at the top of the house. You could buy that and put that on there. I just feel like it's really going to do more damage to the house to take it off with the 4-inch nails that are through all these boards up against the house right there. You can see where it is in the house now, which was not our design. Like we didn't cut that out or anything, but it has been done. So I just feel like it's going to be more of an eyesore to take it down because right now we can't afford. We're going to have to take it down. We can't afford it's going to be like $1,200, and we paid for the railing. We paid to have it put up. They put it up, but they said you've got to pay for it. You want the house, pay for it. So we paid for it, and they put it up. So we've already got money into this railing. There was something else. Also that it said in the guidelines that I thought was interesting that we shouldn't freeze the historical district in time. We should allow more modern updates to go on as long as they have like the historical feel. And you don't want something built that is trying to pretend that it was there beforehand. And I feel like this is kind of like a more modern update of the railing than pretty much the blueprint that's all the way up and down Main Street. The small top board, small bottom board, and spindles. So,
how is the railing attached to the posts?
okay.
The tall posts that support the roof.
The one of them is screwed in with 4-inch nails, and then the other one was cut specifically to fit in tight and pounded down. And I'm not sure if the top is screwed as well. But yeah, there's nails. They did screws, 4-inch screws all through it. And taking those out, right there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 just in that one post that are going to be shown if we have to deconstruct it completely. But I was thinking maybe if we take the spindles off, pull them forward, it would maybe not make it so, I don't know exactly what I mean, but I heard him saying that they rot over time if they're like how I have them. So we would be willing to pull them up and put them back in the way that the white photo, the photo that she submitted with the smaller railing would be. And I do have this from the inspector, if you would like it. Just him saying that we needed one.
I think, first I want to say I'm sorry that you're in this position. I feel like you kind of got the raw end of the deal here because of what was done by the previous owner. And I hear what you're saying, that you're trying to work with us and, you want to be able to come to a good conclusion here. And so I appreciate that very much. And I think one of the things that when this was brought to us, that our concern was that this is certainly not a normal way to construct a railing. And it is not, the spindles are very much in keeping with the style of the house. And that is really what we are concerned about, is keeping the integrity of the historic district. And so I think what it was concern to us is the box around the spindles, the framed around the spindles. And that is, it is not, I'm trying to find the right word to use. It is not keeping with the integrity of the house or the historic district. And I hear what you're saying about the safety of the railing, along with, the sturdiness of it, that you can sit on it, and you have concern for your children as well. And I understand, I know there's a construction code and you can't get a loan, being that your porch was above 3 feet off the ground. And that is across the board, kind of no matter where you live, that's a general construction.
Yeah, they actually said
requirement.
Roman should have had one already put on, that he was supposed to have one when he bought the house, and they never came back to check, and that's how he got away with it.
Right. So, a lot of, like you said, the loan required that. I mean, that is very, very typical. So, commissioners, do we have thoughts, suggestions? What?
You'd sent out a picture that had a version of this, and it even showed a railing on its side.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Did you see that?
yes, but the thing is then that all the damage, like, it's not going to line up with where it was taken apart across the house already is our thing. That's what we're mostly concerned about, is how much damage is going to be done when we take the railing off.
I'm not thinking you would have to take the top railing off.
It's flat. They want it like skinny. If we kept it, they're like this thick. It's kind of like it's as big as the rest of the boards, if you know what I mean. I feel like they would think that would look more awkward than.
Or you could put a trim board underneath it on either side.
Yeah.
If you took that face board off
Okay.
and then put a trim board, if you've got the top board this wide, however wide it is, the spindles aren't definitely that wide. But if you put another trim board along on either side of it, my point earlier was, when I've painted banisters like that, they're a pain in the butt to paint because you got to dig a paintbrush in. But that would look more like, and you're not going to paint it anyway, really. If
Yeah, we stained it.
Stained,
Yeah, we
right?
stained. It is stained.
So that's
in one of the
advantage.
pictures, you can see that it's a lighter color wood than what's there.
But I'm thinking if you could take that face board off, that would solve part of the problem.
What would be a border board?
The bottom board would be the difficulty, because those spindles are long,
Uh-huh.
so you almost would have to take all the spindles off,
Yes.
cut them top and bottom, otherwise they wouldn't fit.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
what
put
we
it
were
on,
hoping we could do, is take the spindles off, cut them, and put them in between.
And then put a flat board, not as wide as this one, but put a flat one between there. And then you wouldn't need anything. You could open that post up so you wouldn't even, that face board on the post, you just see the post, because it's a nice post.
Yes.
So you're talking about the bottom board,
Yeah.
Rob?
The only problem, Rob,
This
is
one
if
along
you take
here?
this board, that's the board you're talking about taking out.
Right.
Then you have a gap here
Yeah.
between,
Well, what I'm saying
That's
is
where
if you
this would
took
come
this off
down.
too,
This,
like then you'd be
taking the
exposed.
side
vertical
piece off
one?
too.
Yeah.
You're talking about taking,
Take that all off, and then you'd have the post, you'd see the post. 'Cause
right,
that's
you
what most
mean,
of-
right, you're talking about the tall post that holds up
Right,
the roof.
right.
Mhm.
So
I
you wouldn't
think-
be hiding that post. You'd
Yeah.
have to patch the holes, but
I mean,
Yeah,
It's
that
just-
can come down today. That's not holding anything up. He said he did that just because
to make it look even.
The vertical,
Yeah, if he
Yes,
has,
those can come out
Uh-huh.
anytime. This one, all across the front where that board is. It's a separate board. It was put in, they can be taken out whenever. They're not holding anything up. It was literally just, they put it in there to put it in there to make it look,
I see.
yes, yes.
I don't know that it'd be that complicated to do, it's just would take a lot of time. And having worked on
It's-
one, I
it's
put one on a house,
mounting the spindles are going to be,
yeah.
because are you thinking you're going to take the spindles, cut them, and put them so that it touches this board here?
If
and
that's
down
what they
here,
would want, yes. Mhm.
I still think that.
Can I
and
ask you a quick
removing
question?
these
Abs-
two sideboards.
Well, I guess there's 4 of them. There's this one, there's one on the front, one on the other front, and one on the other side. Like, see?
So 2 on each side
yes,
of the
and then
front
2 on the
door.
front.
Yeah.
There's not one back against the house. which
No,
is
but
good.
the railing is in the house. They cut
Right.
out a piece
Yeah,
of
and
the
I
house.
understand that, and I see that as a major problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely, it's a major problem.
Yes. I'm sorry, you had a question?
Yes. What was my question? I'm sorry,
No,
I
you're
lost
okay.
it. It'll come to me.
The spindles, how are they attached to the bottom
Screwed.
board?
Screwed
Both
in.
front and back. There's a photo of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can
They're
see
screwed into
here.
the-
They're
Right there.
screwed into the top and bottom.
Screwed,
But they
okay.
could be cut and put in between. It's going to be a lot of work and tedious, but it could be done rather than taking the whole entire.
The thing that I think takes away from what is a very beautiful house.
Absolutely, yes.
Is the starkness of having those wide boards, top and bottom.
The whole frame.
The whole frame feature of it. And anything that can be done to alleviate that, I think would really add to the appearance of the house.
Could we start with taking off those boards and move the spindles forward and then come back and see what you think about that? It's kind of hard to like picture what that's going to look like right now, and then continue from there. If it doesn't look right, go from there.
I think that will make a major difference if we did that.
That would make a major, ideally, just the whole concept of the
Square.
design isn't appropriate for the house, but you can't fix all of that.
Right.
Absolutely, yes. That was my thinking.
So-
Something's not going to match everything.
Right, so I think if we can get the top flat facing board and the bottom one out.
Rip them so that they're not as wide.
Just make them skinnier.
Right.
Yeah.
Right through it, and that way.
And
it'd
also
be able to-
the vertical ones,
Mhm.
hiding the
Yeah.
main pillars. If
Yeah,
if
I don't know
took
how
those
you-
out, that
But
would
she
make a
said
huge
that,
difference.
yeah, she said those are just decorative.
Yeah,
they're
That
not
could be
holding
a
only
one
anything up.
thing-
bloody,
I think that'll make a major change if you
Yeah.
take those two
Mhm.
vertical ones.
Okay, I just want to be clear because you guys are talking about taking the vertical ones out, but he wants me to get rid of the flat boards and make them skinnier, but that also has the issue with it being up against the house. That's
Right.
going to,
Right, that's
So-
going to leave you a gap on your
yes,
house.
yes, a bit. It's
Right.
not little. They chiseled. You can tell where they chiseled
Yeah,
to lay it
yeah.
up a flat against a house because it's like textured, the border or whatnot.
Is that vinyl siding?
Where they cut in was wood.
Wood,
Mhm.
okay.
It's my window, like the window
Yeah.
pane. You can
Oh,
see in the
okay.
picture where it's all like decorative. They cut into that.
Well, it might make it easier if we would.
Which one you
We
want?
could cut a
This
piece
one?
and fill
I
it.
need to see where it goes into the.
Oh, into the
on
head?
other
Oh,
side.
here, this one.
I don't think it'll look good if you make the front shorter and the back and keep the sides
cut
wide.
everything.
Right.
That'll look terrible.
Okay, I have something just to throw out there and see what we think. So if we remove the vertical
All four of
pieces
them, yes.
and kept the top and bottom ones, but we added like molding.
Yes, that's what I was hoping.
That's
Yes.
what I would do.
I
on
have
the-
a photo.
I would do this on the top. I would add
Right,
a half round,
right, that's what I'm thinking.
and that way you have the curvature of the banister
Right.
that you're looking at, and you can have an overlay of it, yes.
Right.
Where is this now?
Keeping the
So what I'm
board, but up
saying
here,
is
put
remove
a,
the vertical pieces
half
here,
round
add like a
so that
molding
you now
Like
have
something like
right in
this.
there.
give you
but
the
like in the
feel,
wood,
yeah,
like a
band.
wood.
Oh,
I was
okay.
thinking about maybe something like this, like buying like what matches, because the top of the house has this,
Right.
and putting that, get rid of the things and put that on there, or getting a stencil of your choice that you think matches the house best, and we could do like a wood paint and a color. And then eventually, I was kind of looking into wood engraving. That's not something we can do right now. That's going to be probably $500-600, but we could eventually do that where it's like a design in the
I see what
bigger
you're saying.
boards, which
I
we
mean,
do
I
by
think
spring.
what I was even proposing is much simpler even than that. Just like a quarter round, like where you would have at the base of your wood floor, where your wood base along the floor runs. It's just a little quarter round.
You'd have to do a half round to get all that.
Yeah,
Like the
right,
trim
right.
piece, like you
So
put
it's
on
just a
it.
trim piece you could buy at Lowe's, stain it to match the rest of the railing, and it would soften up, I think,
Something like that?
Yeah.
that space.
Something, that's just what came up when I put,
Yeah, but a little more pronounced round than that. I guess if you went with a quarter round,
I think that's what I put in.
Because you could,
'Cause you
it looks
get a
like you could
bigger
get the
corner
quarter round right in that seam.
You absolutely could. We were planning on cutting the bottom of the spindles. That wasn't going to stay like that. It's just then we heard there was an issue and we were like, okay, well, let's just stop
Sure,
doing what
sure.
we're doing altogether. Like there's a couple spindles that aren't stained yet because I didn't want to stain them and then have to, so.
Right.
yeah, your only problem with putting the half round or quarter round is you're going to have to fill it with wood filler, because you don't want water to get down in that crack.
Yep.
And paint or stain will fill it in.
I actually have some that I was going to buy to go around all the spindles eventually, but if we're going to move them up, then.
Now, commissioners, what?
Well, we
We
really got a lot
didn't-
of plans.
Anything's better than ripping it down. See, like, I can't
We
imagine.
understand.
Oh, no,
Yes.
I don't think you ought to rip it down either, so.
So what do we think about moving the spindles, or should they stay where they are?
I think they
What's
should be moved.
thoughts on that?
Because we could always cut the bottom of them to put the trim on. They wouldn't be in the way of that.
Madam Chair, if I may weigh in on the
Sure.
Yes.
spindles, I would just like to address the building code and that handrails and guardrails are indeed required. And so the handrails would be defined as the horizontal members of this
Sure.
construction, and the guards would be the vertical. They are required to be 4 inches, spaced 4 inches, so
Right.
that a sphere the size of 4 inches cannot pass through.
I do
As
have
in
photos of that.
A
It's not
child,
what it is.
you wouldn't want
Sure,
a
the
child to
head,
fall through. And the heights are prescribed as well.
Right.
So I did just want to affirm that, from a code perspective, this does meet code,
Right.
and it does fit the requirement for the loan.
Right.
I think
Oh,
the idea of
absolutely.
taking
Thank
that
you.
vertical off, fixing those spindles
So
somehow.
this right here,
No, this board.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then try and think of an easy way to move those spindles. There isn't any easy.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy. We're going to have to unscrew them, and then we're going to have to cut them down the side, and then I guess we're going to have to angle a nail down into it. It's not going to be easy, but it'll be cheaper than ripping the whole thing down. And
Well, you could, on the, both top and bottom, you could cut a spacer to put in there that would give you
kind of like a puzzle piece.
support, yeah,
Okay.
in each one of those things. I think that would make a major difference.
So I apologize, but where are we moving the spindles to? I don't understand.
They want to move them up, so they're
In
not
between the two big boards.
In between
Well,
the
they
boards.
definitely,
Right now, they're
I'm glad
behind.
you don't like them
Right.
sticking down at the bottom.
So
Yes,
they're
we were gonna
talking
cut
about
that,
mounting
absolutely.
in
Tacky,
between
yacky.
pieces.
Absolutely.
Yucky,
We just
whatever.
put a
Okay,
stop to
so it would
everything
just
when we
be
knew there was
at
an
the
issue.
bottom of the top and the top of
Correct.
the bottom.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, they're not even
Okay,
painted
I understand
half of
now.
them. We
Sorry.
just didn't want to continue.
All right, well, let's try to come to some conclusion here for them.
Can you match the yellow paint if you take those boards, the vertical boards
I
down?
would think so. If I take a chip of it, see, the bottom of this was already broken apart. So I have a piece I could take in to Sherwin-Williams and then match
They'll
for
match.
me.
Sure.
Yes, yeah, so
Okay.
without having to like cut a piece off the house.
Right.
And then would I just get wood filler? You think to fill the nail holes? Cause
Yeah, exterior wood
Okay.
filler.
Yeah.
Or if you're gonna fill the holes and paint, you can just caulk it. You can just take
Oh,
a
okay.
caulking gun. It's much easier than wood filler.
Okay. Yeah, 'cause
And
there's a
that'll be
lot of
okay with
nails
the
in
wood.
each
Right.
thing.
That'll be okay with the wood expanding and
Yep.
all that.
It's made to expand.
Yeah, they have a caulking down
Yeah.
at Lowe's. That's
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we discussed the three things. We discussed removing the vertical boards, adding a quarter round or some such molding towards the top where the the seam is.
so. Do you mean at the top, at the bottom?
No, at the
No, at the top of the railing, right here.
Right here,
If you could find
where the seam is there.
a quarter round or half round that was the same thickness
Okay,
as
so you
as
don't see
that,
it.
Before.
Right, so you stick the quarter round in there.
Okay.
that would be the simplest thing to do.
Yep. Okay.
And then, what was the consensus about the spindles?
I don't know how you're gonna put them, you're talking about cutting them and putting them underneath here and on top of there?
Yeah, I mean, I like them the way they are. It's just the photos she sent me, they were in the middle.
I'm wondering what it would look like if you got rid of the bottoms just sticking
I
out.
know, that's.
Yeah, I could cut it tomorrow.
Right.
Cut it tomorrow.
That's where I was I was like, I don't know.
Yes, I agree 100%.
It could be done, because you put a spacer and then you could nail into the
Okay.
spacer as you go along to give it strength. But, yeah,
Is it thick enough? I don't
It's
know what
it's gonna be very close. We might
Okay.
have to sand the spindles down after they're in there, like the bottoms, because
Alright.
we thought about that at first,
Uh-huh.
and it's perfect. The bottoms are square, and it's like right to it. There's gonna be no room for mistake.
So here's a question, if you look at the back, the picture you have of the back side, are those flush with the outside of that top board? You know what I mean? Is there,
no.
there's the top board, and this is the inside of the way to the porch, is it flush with it?
Yeah,
What
the
is
tops
the-
of the
Is the
spindles.
top
Same,
board
yeah.
the same thickness or width as the vertical boards?
So this
Oh, he
board's
doesn't
taking up
know.
the space except for that, okay.
They're of like these vertical boards.
Yeah, the top board, oh, is it
It's a
they
4 by
look like
6. It's a
4-inch, 5 inches boards.
It's
Yeah.
it's a standard 4x6, so it's turned on its side. But
Okay.
when we put it up
Mhm.
against it, it's right on it.
Okay.
So that may, I don't know if we'd be able to. We'd have to drill it from the back and stick it in, and wouldn't be able to like go down. Like, you know, sometimes you can drill a hole and slide it down in there. I don't know if that would be possible because then the wood would probably break.
No,
Yeah.
not with that type spindle.
I just think it would look better if that face board was half the width of it.
But then you have to tear
I
the whole
agree.
thing down, and then you've
I
got
know.
the trouble with it when it goes into
Mhm.
the house.
Right.
When it goes into the house here, they have cut this
A
board.
big, huge
and
chunk
they've
on the
cut
top and bottom.
The door frame, or
Yeah.
the window frame. So they chopped out wood.
And then it won't be the same.
Yeah.
They don't have the same trouble down here with the other one.
But I think once
And
that
basically,
vertical
if you're gonna
board
make it
is
do that, you're
removed,
saying take the whole
and you
thing
put
out,
that
start over.
quarter round on top, and maybe if you just trim those
So
bottom
you don't think you
spindles,
could fill that with
I think it'll make a huge difference.
put a spacer?
We'd be happy to do that and then
You
come
could, I
back
mean,
and see,
Rip
because it's
that.
hard to like picture it. Like it's
Right.
unless you have like a
Take it off, rip it
presentation
off,
and you're like
take it off,
an
rip it,
architect, you know,
And put a plug in,
it's hard to
a
really
spacer in
picture
there
what
and there,
would be.
and on the same on the other side. And then just paint it the same color as the house. I mean, that's, you could do that.
Yeah.
Whether it would be great or not, I don't know, but I see that's the only way you could do that version is to
I think
make
opening,
that,
opening this up, your idea there is great. You'll see the
see the post.
post and getting rid of the spindles coming down below. I can't imagine anybody doing that.
Well, they just left it like that, and yeah,
Quick.
yeah. But we planned. I bought a handsaw, a little round saw to cut them, and then we found out that
Yeah.
there was an issue. The stickers are still on the bottom of them, if you can tell, right there.
Sure.
The price stickers are still.
It was just done to get her done.
Yeah. I mean, we were in a rush. We literally had to close by the 30th, and the inspection was done, I think, on 10/20. No, not 10/20. It's on there. It was like a month or two before, but then we had appraisals and everything. So we were in a rush. So I understand, I guess, but we're happy to take them off. I think even in the email I sent Bethany, I said that we were going to be removing them, that they went down to the bottom, but if trimmed, there wouldn't be.
Yeah. All right, so, I forgot to ask, did we have any public comment?
We do, Chair Hein. I'm in receipt of 4 emails. None of the emails specifically request to have the comments read into the record, but I'll gladly do that. And not all of the emails are identifiable by the name of the writer and their address in Frostburg. But I have received email in regard to this presentation, and I'll gladly read it into the record if you so choose.
All right, I think we should do that.
Yep. Okay, the first one is from Candace Norris. I am aware of the historical meeting about 85 West Main Street. I believe this writer meant 89 West Main Street.
Sure.
I have driven past the home, and as a resident of Frostburg, I feel the porch railing was a great addition to the home. I feel that it still looks very Victorian style, and I also feel that it pulled the porch together and made it look much, much better. Thank you. The second is from Levi Livingston 577@yahoo.com. I hope this email finds you well. I was approached to give my concerns about the home in question. I took some time to ponder the issue, and while I wish the new homeowners would have known the correct process in taking the issue to the committee beforehand, they didn't, thus we are here. I feel the addition to the dwelling did not alter any already standing historical features to the home, which should be our biggest concern. Although the homeowners did not follow the cookie-cutter blueprint for railings, I believe the materials fit the era and the style fits the feel of the home with a more modern Victorian take. The railing corresponds with the framing of the 4x4 boarded windows that face the street, and the planks that line the undercarriage of said porch. The color of the railing also complements the front door, the existing porch itself, and the planks as previously stated. I do believe it's a slippery slope to allow the personal taste or feelings of others to be the deciding factor on what a homeowner can do. As long as the materials are correct, the end product is safe and up to code, and there is still a feeling of historical magic in the air while looking at the features, which in this case, I can see all that followed. My taste and style could be very well not my neighbor's cup of tea, as yours may not be mine, which is why I feel so strongly about this decision not being made on what someone would have done differently design-wise, but by the handbook. I respect the final verdict and truly appreciate the hard work all the committee members do to keep our historical district alive and well, but this issue in particular feels more like nitpicking due to a mistake of permission not being granted first. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Thank you for your time. The third is from bananatree@yahoo.com. Hi, Mrs. Bennett. I'm just sending an email on behalf of the owners to say I think the railing is nice. I do not live in the historical district, but admire it greatly. I understand there are guidelines to follow. Materials and staying in theme being biggest two from what I've read, both seem to be followed with wood being materials and bollards matching the previous standing structure. Appreciate you taking the time to read this. Have a good one. I think in terms of bollards, they were describing balusters.
I'm sure. I mean, banana tree was my friends just knew how upset we were about.
And the final one is from cutfad907 at ruru.be. I actually constructed the railing. I actually constructed the railing and can assure everyone involved I took into consideration the features of the home. The framing seems to be the main focus of what doesn't match, and while I respect everyone's own sense of style, the same framing is found several other places on the home in question. I also chose the specific design for the railing due to the new homeowners having children, one with disabilities, and needing something extra sturdy and long-lasting. The configuration I chose will last the homeowners many years without repair needing to be made, which means less altering in the future that could possibly cause damages to the exterior of the home. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's
AJ.
the extent. Thank you very much.
All right, commissioners, do we have any other questions, or can we move ahead with a motion?
Well, Jamie, let me ask you, we've talked about a variety of options you might have. What do you think?
I understand completely the underneath. That was definitely on my list to do. I'd be happy to cut those. I can understand where the square can kind of block other features of the home. We'd be happy to remove those. I like the trimming idea so you don't see the seams. I'd be happy to do that. If we could leave the spindles where they are, if we could try the other things, that would be great just because that's going to be so much work. But if not, we are happy with that. We were happy with anything except taking the whole thing down and having to deal with the problems that were underlined because it was going to be left without a railing for right now until we could come back to it. So,
So you said by taking the square, well, you mean taking the vertical?
yeah, not making it a rectangle anymore, taking all those vertical
Right.
things
Mhm.
down, cutting the bottom of the spindles, absolutely, and the trim to cover the seams all the way around.
Okay. Okay, so we have a suggestion of cutting the bottom of the
We're gonna
spindles
see that pole,
that are
which I
now
like.
showing
I think
the
it
bottom
will.
of the baseboard, right?
Yes.
I think it's pretty
We
cool to
have
the
removing
paint
the
and
vertical
stain
boards,
combined together.
which ought to be able to be unscrewed. I hope
Yes,
they're screwed.
I believe I see there's 4 in each vertical one, and there are
Can
4
remove
in
them, and that will then, of course, show the post,
Feel that for that.
very nice ornate post.
Absolutely.
And then some trim along the top board.
Absolutely.
I think you'd feel more, a little freer.
And then maybe we could come back to it, like you guys could check it out after we've submitted it's done, and if it still doesn't look right with the way the spindles are, we could take that on then, especially with winter approaching,
Yes.
if we could, yeah. Yeah,
So you're talking about moving the spindles
No,
so that
not-
they're underneath?
Not moving them at all.
not right
I
now.
was gonna say, that'd be a nightmare.
Yeah, that would, and just cutting the bottoms
Yeah,
off.
yeah, I would not,
Yeah, I think that cutting the bottoms off now, because I think that. would
It's
change
superfluous, I mean, I'm doing it.
I agree 100%, the stickers are still on them, they just left them, and then I didn't want to
Well, like-
proceed farther with
Listen,
something.
if you see this picture, that's what the
Yeah.
front's gonna look like.
And you can see what this side
'Cause you'll
is
see that
without the vertical.
Yellow post there instead of this.
That'll be a big difference.
It'll make a big difference.
Yeah, I think that's, Jamie, that'll be a wonderful difference. So, the question is, committee, do we want to suggest that Jamie return with a plan, or can we frame this, no pun intended, in terms of the generalities we've talked about? Cutting the
That's what I
bottom
do.
off the
Yes.
spindles,
That's how we do that.
removing the vertical boards, using trim along the top.
Yeah.
Yes,
The top
I
face.
think that's what we should do so they can move forward
Yes.
and be able to have resolution.
Okay, I have studied the application and all relevant documents and presentation related to the case. I'm familiar with the property in question. I find that the proposed changes are not completely compatible with the design of the building, and that by making the following changes, it would be compatible, cutting the bottom of the spindles off as they are visible from the bottom faceboard. Number two, and all of this, Jamie, will be
Oh, perfect,
given to
okay.
you.
Oh,
Number two, removing the vertical boards that hide the porch support posts that are very ornate. And finally, selecting some trim that would, along the top facing boards of the fence.
Really?
Really. Would add a sense of Victorian charm.
okay.
Okay. Based on these findings, I move to approve the proposal with the suggested changes. Because the use of exterior materials are closely compatible and similar in appearance to original materials in the district pursuant to section 4.1.J.1.C.
I second.
All right. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Hearing none opposed, motion passes.
And I think, Jamie, that's modest changes, really, but I think it's going to really add to the charm of the house.
Yeah, I'm very happy with your decision.
Thank you. I walk past that house all the time, and it is a
It's
lovely
gorgeous.
house.
You wouldn't believe, well, I'm sure you've seen the inside, but the previous owner did updates with like hardwood flooring and stuff. It just, you wouldn't believe how big it actually is. I mean, upstairs suffers. They're like the triangle ceilings where the girls are, but it's gorgeous. I can't wait for Christmas and put the tree. I want to get like a
That'll
12-foot
be
tree.
nice.
And
You know, I don't know if it's still there, but I know the previous owners did have some exterior lighting that would shine up.
yes, I wanted to talk to you guys about that. I know like you can't add things in, but I wanted to know if I needed an order for that. They do not work. I actually tried to plug one in the other day, and when I pulled it back out, the whole thing just ripped apart. Is that something I can have done, or is that something I need to put an order in since it's already there? How does that work?
That's a good question.
I don't think there's any issue
There's-
with lighting. If you'd
no,
like to have some
no.
uplighting on the
That
house, you're
all
No
perfectly free to do
restrictions
that.
from us, and it can add charm to that house.
Yeah, as soon as I saw them, I was so excited, and then we went to go plug them in, and it didn't work.
They've
That
been
was
there for a
disappointing.
while.
And I also have another question. Where can we get like the history for the house? Someone said there used to be like a barber shop there or something. Is there?
You could definitely stop into the Frostburg Museum on Tuesdays, Thursdays, or Saturdays, and we can take you through the library upstairs, and you can do research on the address and former owners' names, and that's usually a good way to get background information on the property.
Is that over on Hill Street?
It's actually at the Divine Mercy Parish, and it's where
Right on
the
Main
school
Street.
used to be. It's right on Main Street at St. Michael's Church.
St. Michael's Church.
Yep.
Well, I wanted to thank you guys, and I am also sorry for any frustration. It was just very upsetting, not even being in the home a month, and
Sure.
having to.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we really appreciate your presentation tonight, and we thank you for joining us this evening. And I think we're all really happy that a good compromise is found. And moving forward, I think it'll be really good.
Okay. And when we're done with the work, do I just come back into another meeting, or?
You can just give us a call,
Yep.
perhaps, and then we can update the commission.
I think that would be
Yep.
fine.
Yeah, perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy the house.
Thank you. Have a good night, guys.
You too. All right, let's see. I gotta get back to the agenda here.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
All right,
We're on old business.
All good.
oh, this was the minutes, hold on, yes. Okay, old business. Text amendment, zoning ordinance 4.1, historic preservation overlay district.
Yes, so we talked about this last month. The commission made some recommendations, we made some updates, and then we sent this over to city council. And city council has had the opportunity to review and make a few minor adjustments, really just in terms of language and how sentences are organized. There was a potential change in the definition for a public street, but we went back and asked that we please keep that consistent with the entire zoning ordinance and continue to use the definition that is in the zoning ordinance. And so that's going to remain unchanged.
Okay, great.
But basically, what we really wanted to do, our intention with this text amendment was to add some definitions, specifically in regard to administrative approval for non-contributing resources. We wanted to define an alley, because we specifically note that alterations that are visible only from an alley do not need to come forward for approval. We wanted to define certificate of appropriateness and make that consistent throughout the section. Define contributing resource and non-contributing resource, and define replacement in kind. And what exactly does that mean? Because as we know, that's very important when it comes to contributing resources. So the remainder of the redlining in the rest of the section is really just like housekeeping, updating our terms to make sure we're consistent throughout,
Sure.
capitalization, sentence structure, things like that. So essentially nothing has changed from the last time we presented this to you. It's just been neatened up and approved by City Council.
Gotcha.
And unless there are any questions or further discussion, we would ask for a motion and a second to approve this text amendment. And then we would take it to mayor and council at this month's work session, discuss it again with them. This month's mayor and council regular meeting would be the first reading of the text amendment, and then it would go on the schedule for a public hearing for December. And then, provided everything passes and there's no major objection, the text amendment would go into effect early 2022.
Okay.
So Laura, I have a question.
Sure.
What is the blue? What's the blue highlights on ours?
That was highlighted because you'll notice the little M1 at the very end of that
Yes.
definition. City council had a comment in
Okay.
regard to that.
Okay. And then for the December meeting, should the committee be at that meeting for this reading? Should we have a representative there, or?
That's certainly, that would certainly be welcome.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
When is the December meeting?
The December regular mayor and council will be the 16th at 7 p.m. in this room.
7 o'clock, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I'd be happy to make a motion to approve the recommended changes, which will then go to mayor and council.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Hearing none opposed, it is passed.
Thank you
Okay,
very much. We'll keep you updated on the dates and meeting times as we move through the process.
okay, great.
This is a 2-meeting process just to ensure that we have the public hearing and everyone that wants the opportunity to weigh in can have that
So
opportunity.
that's work group and the city council.
Okay. All right, so the establishment of a rubric or guidelines for HDC versus staff approval for project proposals within the historic district.
Yes, so I just welcome further comments in addition to what we had discussed at last month's meeting.
So we're talking about the
Yes. As well as the conditions key, if there are any comments or changes that you would like to see made to that.
I see that you have shutters as being a non-contributing resource, and maybe I'm not.
Where it says non-contributing resource, that means that if the property is a contributing resource, it's not even eligible for the administrative approval. It would have to come before the commission.
Okay.
So
So-
any place that it says non-contributing, that's kind of check one.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
Yes.
Exactly. So under fast track staff approval down here where we see shutters and an asterisk, the asterisk notes that conditions apply. So if we had a situation where perhaps someone wanted to add shutters to a contributing resource, that would need full commission approval.
Right.
If someone wanted to remove shutters from a contributing resource, that would need full commission review and approval. If we're talking about routine maintenance and repair on existing shutters, and we just need a fresh coat of paint, perhaps some scraping before painting, a little bit of repair, I think that's on the level of an administrative approval where we know we're having a replacement in kind or simply routine maintenance and upkeep.
Question for you. In the survey that was done, are all properties indicated as being either contributing or non-contributing?
Yes, each property in the district has been assigned a contributing or non-contributing status.
Gotcha. Thank you.
A big example of that is perhaps 7-Eleven in our
Right.
downtown.
You mean
Obviously,
that's not
that's a
contributing?
non-contributing resource in our historic
I mean,
district.
there's a story to it, but it's not.
However, the
Okay.
donut bakery that was in the back of that lot should have been saved. I remember that well.
Oh,
Oh, yes, especially
Donuts.
late
I
at
do
night.
love donuts.
before
Oh, I
you
wish
get,
we could have.
fresh donuts.
Soon they'll be historic.
right, yes. All right, commissioners, any comments on the chart or any of the definitions, the conditions key?
Do we have to do a motion to accept this, or?
Correct, just like we did with the
Okay.
other.
I move we accept, we're just doing the page 29, the fast track.
Page 29, 30, and 31, and 32.
Okay.
The definition.
So I move we approve those pages just mentioned, 29 through 32, as presented.
I second it.
All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Hearing none
Aye.
opposed, motion passes.
We thank you kindly, and we'd also like to stress that we never cease to be amazed by some of the applications that come before us. So just because this has been accepted this evening doesn't mean it's not something we can't revisit and discuss again. If a situation would arise that we felt we needed to discuss this again, we're certainly able to do that. This is not a strict text amendment that does not have to go through mayor and council approval like any other, like a zoning ordinance text amendment would have to. But this is something that you're empowered to do on your own, and we put it together to try to streamline the process in conjunction with our text amendment to make sure things are consistent and running smoothly.
Well, and I also think it'll improve efficiencies for the city. You know,
Right.
your time, you know, on a daily basis.
And the efficiency of the homeowner who's doing the project.
That too.
Thank you, guys.
Exactly,
Well
exactly.
done.
Thank you.
Very well done.
Yeah.
Bethany worked really long and hard on this. It was an idea that we had, cooked around for a little, and then she attacked it and really did a wonderful job with it. So credit goes to Bethany for this one.
Thank you very much.
Very good.
Thank you.
Heard anything about the Eau Petite building, progress on that? Did they said anything to you, or?
No, from my understanding is that they're still very much in the cleanup and sort of semi-demolition process. Small portions of demolition were previously approved because there was a series of shed-type additions on the back of the building that had deteriorated over the years, and they are not part of the contributing structure. So it was, permission was granted to remove some of those add-on structures that were so deteriorated. Mainly so it would help the new owners assess what needs to happen on the back side of the building. In terms of a renovation, a major renovation or a commercial renovation permit, we have not yet been presented with plans for that. But we look for that in the future, and they will be reviewed by our review agency, and that process will be permitted.
Any update on Dig Deep in terms of the signage on the front?
I don't have an update on that yet. I know the banner that they've put up is of a temporary nature. We will reach out to them and discuss that, because typically, per the zoning ordinance, banners have a 30-day lifetime. So we'll address that.
Sorry about that now.
Yeah.
The interior looks
Beautiful. It looks really nice.
Yep, they've done a nice job with it. We did do a ribbon cutting for them previous to last month's mayor and council meeting. They did have a soft opening, and now they're up and running. So I think they're moving forward, and that's a nice addition to that block on Main Street in terms of, thriving business.
Who were the two ladies that were in that picture that were kind of in the middle of the picture? I didn't recognize their names.
One was certainly Erin Dentonburn. She's the wife of the proprietor.
Okay.
And the other would have been
Start with an S.
one of their managers. I'm sorry, her name's not coming to me right now.
Well, that's.
Lydia
What
Savramos.
position were they taking? Okay.
Thank you.
I also have a question about the appetite. Are they required to use one of the, someone for their construction? Someone who's familiar with historic buildings, or can anybody work on that, or is that, I don't know how.
They are required to have a licensed contractor, for sure.
But it doesn't have to be historic in nature?
Not specifically, no.
Okay.
No, but they will be subject to inspections in regard to all features of the building that are altered or improved, including electrical, plumbing,
So it has to meet the historic, okay.
structural, yes, absolutely.
Okay. Those are all my questions for this evening.
All right, let's see. So we had new business this evening. So if there's no other questions,
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
all in favor, please say aye.
Thank you for
All
the
right.
water, and I really
Yes,
like
that's so
this
cute.
label.
That is cute.
terrific.
That's
Nice to
nice.
have everybody back.
Thanks, everyone.
We